I uploaded this video.
I didn't actually wash my hair for about a year.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
And what I did as my main hair care routine was actually follow an 18th century hair care routine. I pomaded and powdered my hair.
It currently has 4 million views on it. A lot of people saw this video, which is crazy to think about. And so when a video has that many people watching it, you're gonna get a lot of questions. I'm gonna actually bother to answer the most frequently asked questions in the I didn't wash my hair for a year and I followed an 18th century hair care routine video. Thank you guys for watching. For those of you who found my channel from that video, hooray. Like, I'm so glad you guys are here. Kenna was so kind to go through all the comments and read and see the most upvoted and the most requested. And then she's just kind of compiled the basic rough question here. Can you color the powder for your hair, either a darker color for like natural, like dark hair like mine, or in like a fun color? Apparently a lot of people also suggested, I think in response to these questions, using cocoa powder. And the answer is yes, they did. Stop it, get back here. My book. In the 18th century, there was a whole rainbow of colors that was actually used for people's hair. Powder, from natural hair colors like a dark brown to bright pink or blue. So there was a whole spectrum. Now, what's different is I've never seen a reference for cocoa powder being used for dark hair. It doesn't mean they didn't. It's a little bit more of an expensive thing, so you really wouldn't want to put that on your head. One of the more common ones that seems to be a darker hair powder was a Marshall powder, using a lot of like clove and cinnamon and spices. And so that would help darken the hair powder. It kind of gave it a more brown hue to it, just because it only could do so much with the wheat starch mixed in. But that also would help scent it and make it smell really nice. And they were really into heavily scented things. For like darker hair colors, you see like dried ink being used, you see painter's pigment like umber or burnt umber being used. And then they also did have like rainbow fake hair color. If you're curious about the history of like rainbow or like fake hair colors, I actually did a whole video about that, and I go through some of the recipes there. When you want to use these pigmented hair powders from the 18th century, you still have to powder your hair with your traditional white or gray hair powder to absorb the excess pomade and oils. And then you go over top of that with your darker or colored hair powder. That way it will not absorb as much oil and it will not become paint on your head. Now, if you get rained on, I cannot help you. Can you do this on curly or black 3 or 4C hair? How did Black people keep their hair clean during this period? We have this view of the past, especially in the United States and even in Europe, that it was all white and it was just white people everywhere. It was actually really diverse, even in the 18th century. Williamsburg, the capital of Virginia, over 50% of the population was Black. The majority of them were enslaved people. Black people did powder their hair. They could have, and they also didn't. It just sort of depends. The forceful removal of African hair care practices between different African groups, as well as forcibly removing language connections and linguistic connections from African people when they were being kidnapped and brought over to the colonies, was a part of the dehumanization process. And it was a part of the enslavement process. Black people in the colonies, the hair care practices and maintaining that culture and holding on to that culture was an important part of them holding on to their humanity. With that in mind, how a person of color interacted with Western hair care practices really seems to depend on that person, where they are socially, where they are geographically. In the book, I actually asked Cheney, who's Not Your Mama's History, and I highly recommend that you guys go and follow her channel, follow her on Instagram, follow her on TikTok. I adore Cheney. She's one of my dearest friends, and she's an incredible historian. She wrote an essay for this book actually discussing the cultural appropriation of Black hair texture in the 18th century, because it was a thing, and also just the historical practices and how they kind of intermixed. Also, what I understand about traditional African hair care practices that I've learned from Cheney is that the use of traditional nut oils and butters like shea butter was an important part of the hair care and scalp cleaning process. The pomades were definitely like something that was used. The hair powder, it just depends. Question number 3 are, what are the store-bought equivalents so I can try this? Is there a dry shampoo I can use that's similar? Yes, the dry shampoo
is very similar. It's much easier to find a dry shampoo that will work than it is to find a hair pomade that will work. Petroleum-based hair pomades and heavy oil-based pomades do not behave the same way as animal fat-based pomade. Petroleum ones especially are very heavy, but a lot of the pomades today still lean heavily into nut and seed oils, as well as adding grit like clay for texture. And that's not really what you want. I think you can experiment. I would look for a very natural hair pomade. If you can find one that is animal fat based and you are comfortable using an animal fat product, I would suggest giving that one a try. The reason that animal fats work so well is because their fatty acids are much more similar to ours. So I think when it comes to the dry shampoo hair powder thing, I look more actually for how it is dispensed versus only what the ingredients are. So I found 3 different brands that have this, or probably more. And hilariously, the one that I think is the closest to actual 18th century hair powder is the cheapest. It's a rich man's world. So the first one I found is R&Co. It's $32 and it's their dry shampoo. It's their Skyline dry shampoo powder. I have used this before. I really like the pump applicator and it smells really nice. Honestly, when I found it several years ago, I bought it strictly because I liked the applicator, because at that time that was the only one that was like that, where you hit it and it like it out. So you can get that actual like hit of it. Another one that is $37 is by Hair Story. I have not used this one, so I do not know. It's a very similar recipe to the R&Co. Cornstarch is the main ingredient, followed up then by tapioca starch. So this one looks like it'll smell really good. Trader Joe's actually just released a dry shampoo in a pump. I think Nicole is gonna bring it to me this week. I've asked her to get it because there's no Trader Joe's in Bloomington, Indiana, and it's really upsetting. It's $4, $5. Damn near the same ingredients as the other ones. I like that $5 price tag, okay? Because ultimately, paying $30-something for cornstarch is kind of stupid. How do you deal with sweat and humidity, like after exercising? There would be occasions where I did have to wash my hair, and it was if I got really, really sweaty at the gym, because this was around the time I was getting into CrossFit. When it was really, really bad and really, really sweaty, that is when I would do it. And in the 18th century too, they were not fans of submerging your hair in water. Hypothetically speaking, like I could have used just more hair powder to help soak up the sweat and then really, really comb out my hair to get it off of my scalp. But you know, when you're used to showering and you're used to that sort of luxury, like honestly, like sometimes you just really want to shower. If I wash my hair, you know, we're talking like once every couple months. It's like I really did like feel really refreshed after pomading and powdering my hair, like going through that cycle. Like it actually really did a nice job. Like it smelled clean, it smelled like flowers, and it felt good. Like it didn't feel greasy and heavy. It was nice. Does the powder rub off on pillowcases, your clothes, etc.? Kind of. It can. It depends. In the 18th century, you absolutely see portraits of men, especially with powder on their clothes. That was just a thing. I don't remember it being too bad on like pillows and stuff, but I also always slept with my hair kind of up. Like if I had done a fresh powder, honestly, I slept with a headscarf on. So I would like put my hair up and then I would put my headscarf on and then I would sleep in that. So then that way, whatever like extra powder was like rubbing off, it wouldn't rub off on the sheets or the pillowcases. It would rub off on my headscarf and it would stay there. The next question was, how was hair-related acne at that time? Looking at my photos, you don't see it. I did not have face acne issues. I've actually been really, really blessed that I have really good skin from really, really good genetics. My grandmother had incredible skin and I definitely inherited those lucky genes from her. Where I do get acne is actually on my back.
Not since I've been using Baby Got Acne Vanishing Cream.
That fluctuated for me. And once I got onto hormonal birth control, like it went away. So I think at the time, I do not remember fully, it wasn't really a problem for me, not that I remember. Hair powder could definitely like do a clog issue. Fatty acids in animal fat, like pomades, it's very, very similar to our own. So it doesn't have the same sort of clogging effect. And you see a lot of people nowadays honestly use tallow-based, beef tallow-based products for skincare because it's really good for skin and your skin usually responds really, really well to it. Honestly, I would use my hair pomade as an emergency face moisturizer if I needed it. Sometimes you smell like bacon. It is honestly for the best.
Don't want to live the way you live. Oh, don't be ridiculous, Andrea. Everybody wants this.
Actually sounds awesome for wintertime, not having to get your hair wet when it's cold, but will it work for curly hair? Will I still have curls, or will it stretch them out or weigh them down? I like my hair to look curly and fluffy. I want to try though. The powder will absolutely weigh your hair down. That's literally what it does, is it attaches to the pomade, and basically that starch will swell. And when you have that much, it creates weight. It definitely can weigh it down in a way that it'll be like, it'll go from being like curly proper to being wavy, which can be really, really pretty actually, and great for styling 18th century hair. A guy friend of mine, I pomaded and powdered his hair, and he had kind of an 18th century cut, and he has very curly hair. When we were done, it actually looked exactly like 17th century men's like periwigs. But if you like really pretty, you know, curly hair, this powder and pomade thing ain't gonna work for you. Like it's gonna have a very different effect on your hair than probably what you want. This book actually holds all of my research, essentially in 18th century hair care, how to do it, how to make the products, how to put the products in your hair. And it actually answers a lot of the questions that were in my comments. So if you are interested in this subject, please buy the book. There is a link in the description below. This is a book I'm really, really proud of. And the pictures are really nice and they're pretty. And I did that hairstyle on my friend, Cindy. Hi, buddy. Hi. You want to be? No one can see you. Oh my God, now everyone can see you. Now no one can see you. Now everyone can see you. Hooray. Nim, 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 nim. Hi. Don't lick. My good boy. Don't lick. Hit that microphone. You have great aim for the microphone. I love you. You're my good boy, Keith. Yeah. Do you want to toot for the camera?